Invitation, Rob.
All yours.
Thank you. Okay, hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about Ikigai in the primary classroom. And you probably don't know what Ikigai is, so I'm just going to give you a very brief background. Ikigai is basically a Japanese concept, and it's a concept of achieving a life's purpose. And in their book called Ikigai, The Japanese Secret to a Long and Happy Life, Garcia and Morales visited Okinawa, and they visited the small village of Oremi because that small community has the highest number of centenarians in the world. And what they discovered while they were there doing their research was that we can actually all find and follow our Ikigai, or our life's purpose. So what they did is that they distilled these 10 rules of Ikigai from the wisdom of these centenarians. And while I was reading the book, I realized that from the perspective of an EFL teacher and teacher of young learners for over 20 years, these can actually be applied in the primary classroom. We can incorporate these rules in our teaching practice, and in that way, we can actually set our students, our learners, on the right path to achieving their life's purpose. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, these 10 rules and some practical applications of the 10 rules in the primary classroom. So the first rule is that you need to stay active and don't retire. And this is very important to show our young learners that there is life actually after retirement, and that aging is a normal part of life. Because if you take a look at materials and course books that we use, elderly people are usually represented in a very negative light as people who are not active, they're ailing, and they are boring. So we really want to move away from that negative representation of elderly people in materials. So what we can do as teachers is we can encourage our young learners to spend more time with their grandparents or elderly neighbors, just chatting to them, just to see that there is life after retirement. Or as teachers, we can set up community projects. Of course, you need to ask the parents' permission, but your students can visit elderly people for an hour or two a week. And when they come back to class, they can share their experiences and what they have learned from these elderly people. Now, the second rule of Ikigai is that you take it slow. And this is very important because this new life that we're all living is so stressful. And now it's very important for our learners to understand as well that they need to take it slow. And we also need to remember that every time we learn something new, it takes time. Things simply take time. So what we need to do is we need to allow our young learners time during lessons to absorb the new information, to process it, to incorporate it into their existing knowledge. So we need to get them to leave that sense of urgency behind in their academic work, but not only in their academic work, they also need to do that when they're in their lunch line, waiting for lunch, or when they're just waiting to enter the classroom. So we need to get them to leave urgency behind, and we need to do the same thing. Don't fill your stomach. This is an excellent rule that they have, and it's an 80% rule. And you need to eat until you're 80% full. Because what we usually do is when we teach lessons on food, we teach different lexical categories such as fruit, vegetables, dairy products, meat, etc. But and also we talk about healthy food, but this is not the only part of eating healthy. We need to work with our students on understanding the importance of a balanced diet, how to eat, what to eat, how much to eat, and when to eat. So the next rule of Ikigai is to surround yourself with good friends. So it is very important for our students to understand that they need to be open and accept others, embrace differences, diversity, and spend a lot of time with their friends and family, because that is part of being a fulfilled person and having a fulfilled life. Now, as teachers, we can do this by having a lot of collaboration among our learners, a lot of group and pair work, mutual support and assistance as well. And also, we need to encourage activities that promote sharing personal stories and experiences, because in this way, learners create connections. Now, the next rule is to get in shape for your next birthday. That is the importance of physical exercise and movement. And we all know that movement is as much a learning opportunity as any book or materials that we use in our classrooms, because it is a good stress release. It is good for your focus. It is good for your cognitive processing, building social connections, teamwork, self-esteem, and developing leadership skills. So you can set up a pre-class routine where you do some physical exercises before you start academic work, just to get, their blood pumping. But also, if you see them kind of dozing off during a lesson, just get them up, okay? Get them to stand up, stretch for a minute, walk around the classroom, do anything to wake them up. And this is good for your students, but it's also good for you as a teacher. The next rule is smile. And this is very important to model as teachers, because we are models of positive behavior for our students. And that's why you need to always model kindness and positivity. So what you could do is you can create an act of kindness pocket. I will show you a picture of it, with an act of kindness in it every day or a week. It's just a piece of paper, and on it you can write things like write positive messages on the sidewalks with a colorful chalk, create a playlist to get your friend in a good mood, make a cup of tea or coffee for your parents, or anything that will get your students to help people around them. And as you can see, this is very simple to make, and just put a slip of paper in. In this way, we create kind and empathetic young people. Of course, after they do the act of kindness, they come back to class again and share their experiences with you, so you can discuss and see how that influences them. The next rule is to reconnect with nature. Because our young learners are, of course, young, and sometimes it's not enough just to talk about the importance of nature and environment. You need to show them. So you can bring some plants into your classroom, or you can actually plant some with your students, with your learners. You can also use, if you have a big schoolyard with a patch of green, you can use that. So you can get them outside and activate their senses, so they can touch the grass, leaves, flowers, soil. You can ask them how they feel or how they smell even. You can involve parents by asking them to take their kids for a walk in a nearby park or a forest, and do the same thing. Activate their senses and ask them how they feel during the walk. Give thanks. It's very important to set up morning meetings so that your students can give thanks and say what they're grateful for, because some of them might be grateful for getting a ride from their parents that morning, but some of them might be grateful for just simply having breakfast that morning. So that makes them kind of be grateful for they actually have. And also it makes them connect to each other even more. And the next rule of Ikigai is live in the moment. So what matters is what you're doing at that particular moment in the classroom. And even if something goes wrong and they fail, they cannot see failure as something regrettable. They should see it as a learning experience. So they should incorporate that in their classwork that day. And the last rule is follow your Ikigai, because there is a passion inside you. So you need to encourage your students to have freedom to express themselves, to explore, and to discover, because they all have their own light that the world needs. And also, we as teachers need to follow our own Ikigai, because as Mark Twain once said, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. So these are my 10 rules of Ikigai in the primary classroom. Thank you very much.
Aleksandra, thank you so much. That's a friend of mine studied Ikigai last year and taught me a lot about it. And I especially like the one surround yourself with friends and positive
Yes.
people. That
Yes.
one I've the exercise one, not so much.
Yeah, but I think it's a very interesting concept, and it definitely can be applied in our teaching practice. And this is just, scratching the surface of all the things that we can actually do to incorporate these 10 rules in our teaching practice. So I hope that, I've given you just a little bit of insight into this, and maybe, develop this a little bit further. So thanks, Rob, for the opportunity.
Oh, thanks. I have another one for you that I've been reading about lately. Is another one they have called Kaizen, which
Mm-hmm.
is the 1 minute principle.
Oh,
And
okay.
to take 1 minute every day to think something positive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, God, those Japanese are so smart.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.